Well, the president says the stimulus bill created or saved millions of jobs, but only 6% of Americans agree with him. And I'm wondering if all those 6% are inside the Beltway. Who better to ask than Minnesota Republican Representative Michele Bachmann, who's also, by the way, trying to tackle one of the biggest but politically dangerous and touchy issues for politicians, Social Security. Congresswoman Bachmann joins us now. Great to see you. Thanks for being here. Do you believe the president when he says that the stimulus bill created or saved all these jobs?
No, of course it didn't. We've actually seen job losses, massive job losses. The president promised when the unemployment 1 year ago today was at 7.6%, that if we passed the $1 trillion stimulus, we wouldn't go above an 8% ceiling. And he said if we didn't pass the stimulus, then we could go to 9%. We could only wish we were down at 9% unemployment. Unfortunately, we're still hovering too close to 10. This was a bag of goodies, and it was a lot of political payoff. And unfortunately, it did just the opposite of what we were hoping it would do.
Okay, Social Security. I think it is one of the biggest frauds ever perpetrated on the American public. It is supposed to be a lockbox, a personal safety deposit box for our savings. That's how it was designed. That's what it was promised to be. Instead, that box is empty. It's full of these empty IOUs that politicians have put into it, and they've taken the money out and used it for other things. So how do we straighten it out?
You're right. It's a tremendous fraud. No company could get away with this. They'd be thrown in jail if they ever tried to do what the federal government did with people's Social Security money. What we need to do very quickly is take the money that is coming in for Social Security and truly lock it up so that we aren't putting it out the door anymore. But ultimately what we have to do is we have to cut government spending at almost every level, and we've got to get our house in order. We need entitlement reform with Medicare and with Social Security. There's plans on the table right now. There's a roadmap that I think all of us need to look at. This is a top priority because there are people who are truly vulnerable who are going to be hurt if we don't get this house in order.
Okay, but let me ask you to be a little more specific, because we have had plans out to privatize Social Security. That is, the people who are in it now continue to get it as usual, but new entries would have a choice. You can either go with the government plan, which pays a piddling, or you can take your own matters into your own hand. Deal with it as if it's your own savings account. Are you for privatization?
Well, what we need to do, like you said, is people who are currently on Social Security need to have the promise kept to them. Also, people within about 10 years of receiving Social Security, they're in a very difficult position. But people that are younger than those ages, they need to have some options in their life so that going forward they can have an ownership of their own Social Security, their own retirement, something that they can keep and pass on to their beneficiary of their choice.
Well, hold on a second, because that's a very interesting aspect to all this. If you are the owner of your own Social Security account, you can, once you die, you will have the capacity to pass it on to your relatives, to your children or whomever. That's something unique that you don't have now.
That's right, you don't. And what we want to do is move toward an ownership society that will incentivize people to save for their retirement. Plus, I think we need to be straight with the American people and tell them the funds aren't there going forward to fund people's retirement. And so we need to make some drastic changes so the people who are very vulnerable now don't get squeezed. All right.